Corin had no business being inside Lux Eterna. The place shimmered like a cathedral built for the gods of consumerism, light refracting through floating crystal panels, each displaying items so expensive they probably came with their own gravitational fields. He stood at the entrance, boots squeaking against the polished floor that probably cost more than his entire apartment back on Deck 12. He tried to look casual, but the nearest holographic attendant was already giving him the kind of stare that said, "Sir, you smell like lower gravity." He adjusted his worn jacket, the one that had seen more oil stains than daylight, and mumbled to himself. Just a little gift, a small one, something shiny, not orbital. His reflection on the glass looked older than he remembered, the silver in his beard glinting under the neon glow. Myra would love anything sparkly. Kids didn't care about value, only light. The scent of ozone and artificial roses hit him as he stepped in. A soft chime announced his arrival, probably warning the staff that a lower-class anomaly had entered the building. The nearest clerk, all perfect posture and plastic smile, asked if he was lost. Corin forced a grin, only financially. Before the clerk could call security, the door behind the counter hissed open, releasing a wave of warm, fragrant air. She walked in tall, graceful, with long, curved ears catching the light like molten gold. Her skin shimmered faintly, as if dusted with starlight. Every gaze turned to her, but hers locked on him alone. The air hummed softly. "Corin Vale," she said, her voice melodic and strange. "You're late." He blinked. "I'm sorry, do I wait? Late for what?" Her lips curved into a small, knowing smile. "For the part where I remember who you are." Corin stared at her, mind blank, like an old engine trying to start without fuel. "I think you've got the wrong guy," he said. "I've never met anyone who glows before breakfast." The woman, or whatever she was, tilted her head, her long ears flicking with amusement. "You really don't remember," she murmured. "Hellion Rift, 2 suns collapsing, a wrecked escape pod, and a human who refused to leave." Corin frowned, scratching his chin. "Hellion Rift, that was years ago. I barely remember my lunch, let alone that." He laughed nervously, though his chest tightened with a flicker of recognition, smoke, fire, metal screams, and the faint memory of dragging someone from the flames. "You were in that pod." "I was the pod," she replied dryly, and when his expression turned horrified, she chuckled. "A joke, human, though you did save me. My name is Surinth." Her voice softened as she said it, but her golden eyes sparkled with mischief. Corin shifted awkwardly. "Look, that was just luck, and a good crowbar." She smiled wider. "You call saving a dying Dravani luck? You must be chronically humble or dangerously foolish." "Both on weekdays." The tension broke like a snapped power line. Around them, the boutique's hovering crystals seemed to shimmer brighter, as if reacting to her laughter. "You came here for something shiny, yes?" she asked. "For my daughter," Corin said, glancing at the displays. "Her birthday. Thought I'd get her something small before the universe repossesses my wallet." Surinth's eyes softened. "Then let's find her a star worth keeping." Surinth led him past display cases that hummed softly. The items inside suspended in midair, as if defying gravity, necklaces that glowed with captured starlight. Rings that reflected not just faces but distant constellations. Corin shuffled along, trying not to trip over the faint anti-gravity currents that made the floor feel like walking on clouds of compressed light. "You know," she said, her voice amused, "humans are still obsessed with shiny things. After all these centuries, nothing's changed." Corin glanced at a bracelet that pulsed with violet energy. "We're consistent," he said, trying to sound profound. "And stubborn, mostly stubborn." Surinth chuckled, long ears twitching. "Stubbornness is endearing when it comes with heroism, or near-death experiences." She paused before a pedestal holding a tiny crystal pendant. It was delicate, no larger than a teardrop, and shimmered faintly with trapped nebula fragments. "This is trivial," she said, lips twitching. "Child's play for a dragon's boutique." "Perfect," Corin said immediately. "Small, shiny, and doesn't require a mortgage." She raised an eyebrow, clearly entertained, then waved at the nearest holographic scanner. The pendant hovered over it and the machine buzzed a warning. Corin froze. "Oh no. You can't afford it," she said bluntly. "Your credit chip is nearly empty. Technically, you're broke." And yet, she tilted her head, studying him, amusement glinting in her golden eyes. "You still carry yourself like a man who saves dragons for breakfast." Corin snorted. "Breakfast? Lady, I can barely save myself before lunch." The dragon woman's laughter filled the boutique, soft and musical, scattering tension like cosmic dust. "Very well," she said. "Then I will pay, but only because you saved my life and humans are hopelessly predictable. Come, let us settle an old debt with style." Corin followed Surinth to a quiet lounge at the back of the boutique, a room that smelled faintly of ozone and spiced plasma, like a starship cabin after a minor warp malfunction. Floating chairs adjusted themselves to his weight, tilting with a gentle hum that made him feel like he was sitting on a cloud made of metal. Surinth perched on a high, levitating seat, crossing her long legs with the grace of someone who had literally walked on moons that burned at 10,000 degrees. "You humans are funny," she said, twirling a thin strand of starlight that floated around her finger. "You save lives you barely understand, then apologize for it like it's a misdemeanor." Corin chuckled, rubbing the back of his neck. "I apologize for everything. My daughter's birthday, unpaid rent, questionable parenting." "Ah," she said, eyes twinkling, "and yet somehow you managed to survive in a galaxy that would prefer you extinct. Admirable. Stubbornness does suit you." He laughed, a bit louder than he intended. "I guess stubbornness is cheaper than therapy." Surinth leaned back, golden ears flicking in amusement. "Cheap, yes, effective, perhaps. But tell me, Corin Vale, do you ever think about the debts life hands you?" "Every day," he admitted. "Mostly the ones it refuses to forgive." She nodded thoughtfully. "Dragons are notorious for hoarding debts. But I hoard memories, too." Her gaze softened as it met his. "And yours is one I have cherished." Corin swallowed hard, feeling the weight of unspoken history. "Guess it's my turn to be speechless. Not exactly a strong suit." "Then let us speak in other ways," she said, gesturing to the floating pendant between them. "You saved me once. Today, I repay in a way that might just save you and your little star as well." He blinked, realizing that in a galaxy of shifting alliances and merciless stars, this dragon's generosity was as improbable as a solar flare playing chess with a comet. And yet somehow, it felt right. The delivery arrived before dawn, though in a place like Solport Station. Before dawn was mostly poetic. The sky was a swirling neon soup of artificial lights and drifting satellites. Corin blinked at the crate, which hovered a few inches above the landing pad, glowing faintly with protective runes that hummed like trapped lightning. He had no idea how Surinth managed it, but the crate radiated importance, and just a hint of mischief, as if the dragon herself had whispered, "Open carefully, human." He activated the lock and a hologram sprang to life above the crate, shimmering like a tiny constellation. Surinth's voice floated from it, warm and playful. "Myra Vale deserves more than trinkets. She deserves stars. And you deserve fewer gray hairs." Corin muttered, "I think she's just going to want candy and stickers." But as the crate opened, the contents spilled like a miniature galaxy. Tiny modules of educational simulations, habitat credits, books that unfolded into interactive star maps, and a small pendant that pulsed with captured nebula dust. Each piece felt impossibly alive, vibrating with potential. He lifted the pendant, its glow reflecting in his tired eyes. This is insane," he said, "and beautiful." Surinth's voice echoed from the hologram again, teasing. "Dragons do not give charity, Corin Vale. We settle debts. Consider this my version of a receipt with interest." Corin laughed, shaking his head, marveling at the absurdity. "I guess the universe really does have a sense of humor. Mine just happens to involve dragons." He imagined Myra opening the crate, her eyes wide like twin supernovae. For the first time in years, He felt the weight of the galaxy ease from his shoulders, replaced by something lighter, something almost like hope. Even in a cosmos of cold stars and ruthless commerce, Surinth had reminded him that small acts, no matter how improbable, could shine brighter than a dozen suns. The news feeds lit up faster than a nova in a metal bucket. Dragon heiress rewards human hero, screamed one headline, while another questioned asterisk debt of honor or galactic PR stunt. Corin groaned, juggling his morning coffee, a burnt slice of synth toast, and the realization that his life had just gone viral. He ducked reporters like a miner dodging falling ore, answering their questions with the most honest response he could muster. "I didn't save a dragon. I saved a person." The simplicity of it seemed to confuse half the galaxy and infuriate the other half, perfect viral fodder. Meanwhile, his datapad buzzed insistently. A message from Surinth appeared, golden letters shimmering against a backdrop of rotating constellations. "You've embarrassed me across 3 systems. I'll have to buy them." Corin smirked despite himself. "Really? You could have let it slide, you know." "Impossible," the reply shot back. "Dragons are constitutionally incapable of letting anything go, especially gratitude and social media humiliation." He laughed, imagining a centuries-old dragon fuming over memes of herself with captions like, "She who hoards glitter, asterisk." "Well, I suppose some things don't change, huh?" Surinth's next message made him snort into his coffee. "Next time you save my life, please do it quietly, or at least with a press release." Corin shook his head, marveling at the absurdity. In a galaxy of collapsing stars, pirate raids, and bureaucratic spaceports, somehow, he had ended up in the most ridiculous headline of the decade. And he couldn't help but feel, for the first time in years, that the universe had a sense of humor and apparently a taste for irony. He pocketed the datapad, thinking about Myra. Her laughter, her astonishment, that would outshine any newsfeed. In the chaos of interstellar gossip, some things, he realized, remained perfectly intact. A father's love, a dragon's debt, and the quiet satisfaction of being entirely, ridiculously human. Myra's first encounter with Surinth was nothing short of spectacular. Corin had warned her that the boutique owner was unusual, but he hadn't mentioned that she literally glimmered, or that her long ears caught the light like twin moons in orbit.